writing in Spanish is very different than writing in English. It is way harder. Spanish is a very difficult language sometimes.
But we love it.
But there's nothing more special than writing in your native language and sharing your culture that way. And also, like right now, we just came back from a European tour. And imagine you're in Germany, people don't speak Spanish at all. And we're playing Que Mas Quieres for like practically the first time ever. And people are singing back this song in Spanish.
And you're
like, how are you even doing that? And to be able to do that with your music and share your language in that way, it's just magical.
Bringin It Backwards.
Awesome. Well, I'm Adam. Very nice to meet you all. This is about the three of you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the album you have coming out, I think next month, right?
Yes. Oh my God, it's already next month.
Yes, our new album, Keep Me Fed, comes out June 28th, and we're just so excited for it to come out.
That's amazing. And I've heard a few songs off. Actually, I've heard the whole record, and it's amazing. So I can't wait to chat about this all. But obviously, the three of you are sisters, born and raised in Mexico, right? Mexico City?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, amazing. So tell me a little bit about that. Who's the oldest and then through the youngest? I know you guys started very, very young, which is quite the story.
Yeah, well, I'm the oldest. I'm Danny, and I'm the guitar player and lead singer.
I'm Pau, and I'm the drummer.
I'm Ale, and I am the bass player, as well as the youngest. Right. So we started out when we were very, very young. We all started playing the piano, and we grew up in a very musical household. Our parents are big music lovers, and we grew up with music like Queen, Muse, Billy Joel, Elton John, Pink Floyd. We just loved listening to music with our parents. But it wasn't until they bought us a video game, the Rock Band, and we loved playing the Rock Band. I loved watching my sisters play. I was still very young, but I loved watching them play and have fun. And we discovered so many artists and so much music through the Rock Band. And Danny loved playing the guitar in the Rock Band, and she plays the guitar now. The same happened with Pound the Drums. Eventually, I picked up the bass, and that's where it all started, really. And after a while, we played our instruments individually, and we figured like, oh, we can play together. And we started covering our favorite songs and uploaded them to YouTube until we did this Enter Sandman cover, and that one went viral. And that's where everything started. After that, we just started writing our own music, and here we are 10 years later. So
that's awesome. So you all started off on piano. Danny, were you on piano early, and then everyone kind of fell suit after that? Or did your parents decide to put everyone in piano at the same time?
Well, Pau and I started at the same time because Ale was a baby. I think I was 6.
I was 4.
Yeah.
Ale was 2.
So I started playing until I was like 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long did you all play piano for? Did you play up until Ali started?
Yeah, I think we
kept playing.
We kept playing. When we started the second instrument, though, it did kind of like, well, no, at the same, when we started the band was when we kind of like, it slowly trickled out. But Pau plays
I still play the piano. I write on the piano.
That's correct.
Oh, really? That's amazing. So when you get Rock Band and then Pau, you're on drums and you're all kind of playing your respective instruments on this game, was that what drew you to, oh, you know, we're really good at this game, let's all like, I'll get a drum kit and I'll get a guitar and a bass? And is that what did it translate that way, or were you already playing these instruments and then Rock Band just kind of accelerated your love for it?
We started playing because of the Rock Band, but when you say it like that, it sounds insane. Oh, like, oh, you're good at a video game, so let's do it in real life.
Yeah.
But really, though, I mean, with I had as a kid or I was older, but I was playing it, and the drums. I'm not good at drums, but it does you get a rhythm. You can learn how to keep a rhythm on there. And with the guitar too, like playing like up and down and where your fingers go, it is definitely a great tool. I know obviously you aren't playing notes, but having that kind of muscle memory is really there with the game.
More than anything, it makes you fall in love with music, and what we saw on the screen seemed so much fun. I can't believe that that's what we actually do right now.
Sometimes we just came back from a tour in Europe, and we were playing certain shows, and I was looking at the crowd and their reactions, and I was like, this is just like the Rock Band.
Pau would look at me and she's like, this is like The
The
rock
rock
band.
Avatar on Rock Band.
There he is.
That is so funny. So at what point are you like you all master the game and it's like, okay, well, let's you convince your parents like we've been playing these instruments on this game forever. Like, how about you buy us some real ones? Like, let's go on this.
That's literally what happened. I was having so much fun playing the game that I told my dad, like, hey, I want to play the guitar for real. And he's like, are you sure? Like, it's not the same thing. And yes, I was surprised to see there was no buttons on a real guitar. But no, I instantly fell in love with it, even though I started with acoustic guitar though.
Okay.
And then when eventually I got to like the electric guitar to really properly rock out, there was no going back. It's super, super cool. And Pau started the same way.
Yeah, my parents saw that I had really good coordination on that plastic drum set, and my dad was telling my mom, like, please, let's buy her a drum set. Let's get her into lessons. Like, she's really good. Come on. I was 6. Like, I can't, like, that's wild. And then I started with lessons, and I loved it so much. It was just so much fun. There was such a big, like, energy release, and it did have good coordination. Like, it was
did.
such a good.
When I played the plastic drum set, there was not.
You would fail the song.
Yeah.
With you, Ali, how you were very, very young then. So at what point are you all of age to play it at the same time? Like, were you old enough when Rock Band came out to be able to start, or were you watching your sisters and you're like, I want to get involved in this?
Yeah, so when they played the rock band, I was still really young and I just enjoyed
3.
watching them play. I was 3. So I just enjoyed like watching them play and have fun. But it wasn't until like they already played their instruments and everything. I was like 6 or 7 around that age. And my father was like, oh, like you can pick another instrument if you want to. And at first I wanted to play the harp. That was kind of difficult for my age. But then you know, we loved watching concerts on our free time, like DVDs with our parents and stuff like that. And I saw this instrument that I had no idea what it was because I knew what the guitar was and the drums and I didn't know what the bass was. And I was just so intrigued. And I was like, I want to play that. And eventually I started playing the bass and I took like lessons for a few months. And it wasn't long after we started playing together. Yeah.
Wow. I was gonna say, like, your sister's like, oh, well, I already took the drums and the guitar, so you can get the bass, or even the fact that like you can't rock on a harp. Like, sorry, they're just like, if you want to join the band, you have to pick something up that's gonna rock.
My parents tried everything in their power to get a harp. No, not even like the harp, but like a harp teacher or anything.
Oh, it was hard to find.
It was hard to find.
Yeah,
so my parents were like,
we're so sorry, like we can't do
we don't know what to do. But yeah, I picked up the bass and honestly I'm very glad I did. It just fits very well with my personality and everything. And it is the coolest instrument.
It is. It's a real because most people that play bass don't play bass. Like, it's like, oh, I got stuck in and I just play the root note of guitar. But the people that play bass, you're like, damn, like that's such a rad instrument.
Cool.
When you see a band where the person's actually a bass player, it's a whole different level of do your parents play any instruments at all, or like what kind of they just were music fanatics and were like, hey, we want our daughters to do something with music?
So like our parents aren't musicians at all. They just really love music, and it's not like they had set out this plan like our children are going to be musicians. More than anything, like how you put your kids into like ballet class or like soccer classes or something
Sports
like that.
Or whatever,
they put us into piano lessons, and it just bloomed very naturally.
Yeah, we gravitated towards music a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And being so young, I mean, having this viral video on YouTube, and obviously Metallica sees it and they're like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. How were you putting up YouTube videos for a while before the Enter Sandman one, kind of worked?
I think
I don't know for a
them.
while, but for like
of them.
we had like 3 videos before that, I think.
Yeah,
I had a couple like individual covers of Hannah Montana and Taylor Swift, and
nice.
then Metallica. But yeah, it was never like we didn't upload videos with an intention of like we're gonna have a YouTube channel and we're gonna upload covers all the time. It was just like okay, we're singing these songs. Let's just have a little time capsule. We're recording them. But suddenly Enter Sandman went really viral and our careers started. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what was that like being so young? I mean, LA, you were what, 9 or something, or maybe even younger at that time? I mean, I have a son that's 8 and he's in 2nd grade, and I can't imagine him having 20 million views on YouTube and having, Ellen DeGeneres,
Yeah.
want to have him on her show or whatever. Like that must have been so overwhelming. Not you all were all young, but I mean to be
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like back then, like right now, as people are going with social media, you like kind of understand the concept of like going viral and how many people are seeing like all of these videos. But back then, I feel like I think I can speak for all of us that like we couldn't actually grasp what was going on and we didn't actually understand everything that was happening. For us, it was like we were just getting a lot of attention and we just got interviews and we got to go to the Ellen show and it was just like a lot of doors were opening for us. But it wasn't until like maybe a few years ago that we looked back and we were like,
that's crazy.
That's crazy. Like those are a lot of views, a lot of people that saw our video.
Yeah,
so
saw this video.
like back then we just didn't realize what it meant to go viral.
Grasp what 20 million views were.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I still couldn't even grasp 20 million views.
Yeah,
At this point. It's like, wait, what? I mean, the people that have it, you have that and you think of how many 20 million people is, it's just, it's so wild. It looks like a number, and then you really put it in perspective, how many people that actually is that have checked it out. But, so you, obviously this gains all this attention. And then when do you start writing original music? Was it like, oh my gosh, like this is a thing, but you probably didn't want to be known as this cover band. It's let's write our own songs. How you must have been still really young when that even begun.
It was almost right away that we started writing our own music just for the fun of it.
It was not like strategy. Like we don't want to be a cover band. I mean,
I was like 9.
Yeah, I was 13. So it was more of like we want to develop that area in our lives. Like we can write music. We're musicians. Oh my God. And it was only until we started writing our own music that we were just like super sure that we really wanted to be a band and that we wanted to do this together. Writing, like creating something at such a young age and realizing the power that you have as a human being to write something, create something and put it out in the world. And for us to put it out in the world at such a young age and have people listen to it and start following you. It is such a crazy concept, but it is what really just like jump started this love for the band that like we play in today, that this writing, this sharing.
And because you guys did like a GoFundMe, right, to produce the first batch of songs.
Oh my God, yes, we did. Because most of the first years of our career we were in an independent band with
the first 7 years of our career.
I was gonna say for a while you were an independent band, right? It wasn't even. When did you sign? Like it was not even until like 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah,
2020. That's 4 years ago.
Almost 4 years
I still feel like we just signed.
Yes.
That's
but to be doing this for 5, 6, 7 years before that and having the amount of music that you've done and the career you had even prior to signing a record deal. I mean, to crowdfund a GoFundMe to get people to want to support you in that way. That's huge.
Yeah,
that is. And we were so happy that we found a lot of people that wanted us to put out music, so that was
to support
super
us in that way. And not only for like the first batch of songs that we did but for every album, we constantly had people showing their support in various ways. And to be conscious that people around the world are waiting for your music and are like just anxiously like open to hearing what you have to say. It's just amazing. And over the years to see how that has grown, it's just a very humbling and beautiful thing.
And it's crazy to think that we're now on the fourth album.
Yeah, fourth album.
MTV Biggest is our 4th album, and that's really crazy to think about because it feels so new and it feels so us right now. And then I remember we have 3 more of those. That's insane.
Right. When do you start? I want to talk to you about the new album, and we will. I just have a couple more questions just on the kind of the origin of the band. When you did the first album, was also was it crowdfunded, or was at that point were you guys able to just self-fund it?
No, I think all of them.
I think all of them were.
Yeah.
All of them were.
Blood, which was our first ever full-length album, was Kickstarter campaign.
No, that was a GoFundMe.
That was GoFundMe.
Queen of the Mercy was a Kickstarter campaign. And Error
Error
was
was
also
also
a
a
Kickstarter
Kickstarter.
campaign.
Oh, you're
Because
right.
we started recording Error. Well, not recording, but like writing it and
Writing Error.
producing it. And then the pandemic hit, and then we got signed.
You're right.
So over
Oh,
both
okay.
careers, we've had people just like actively just really supporting
Supportive.
us throughout
Oh my
everything.
God.
Yeah, this is, I feel like this is the first time where it's like
Oh
we're
my-
offering more.
Yes. We're like, hey, we're gonna give you this.
We're gonna give back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
With touring, like what did that look like? I mean, being that young, were you touring on the first EP? I mean, none of you were even like adult age, right? You were none of them. None of you all were like really. Were you 18 at this point, or?
No.
I mean,
We
to
wouldn't-
tour, you probably you're coming to America to do Ellen DeGeneres and doing
Mhm.
these tours, and was it like your parents just they had to turn into what, like mom and momager and all of that, tour
Yeah.
managers and all of that stuff?
Definitely. You know, I wouldn't call it like touring, but we
Touring.
were playing a lot.
Yeah, we had a few shows here and there.
And it was always
Exactly.
very funny because we couldn't go into the venues. Like they
Nope.
were bars. And we're like, what are you doing here? We can't have you playing here. And we're like,
So we
"So
just
we have
played.
permission.
We got
We would play and they would kick us out.
us
They were
out,
like,
yeah.
you can't be in my establishment. Get out. And they were
Oh
like, you
my
were
God.
great, but please get out. Like,
But now you have to
can't
leave.
be- but our parents, they were as new to this whole thing as we were. They had no clue what like the music industry was like. So, but they really took care of us every step along the way. And of course, as our team has grown, we have
a lot
obviously
since
more
then.
people, and
Yeah.
we've grown so
Yeah.
much in college as well. But our parents still do like everything with us.
Yeah.
Like when we tour, and now we properly tour.
Right.
They're on the road with us all the time. And yeah, they were like, they have always been our biggest supporters.
With, I know you obviously the three of your sisters, do you think that makes it easier as far as like in the writing process? Like, I mean, if you were just all good friends and you know, Danny wrote something in LA and how you're like, oh, that sucks. Like you can't tell them, you know, because you feel like, oh, is this gonna damage the friendship? Do you feel like you can be more brutally honest with each other because there's that unconditional like sibling love there?
For sure. And
Definitely,
you know, we have a huge advantage that we've known each other for literally our
Our
whole
whole
lives. So we have that already base, you know, friendship, love and care and honesty.
And
to just kinda,
also, we know each other's moods and how we react to things.
of course.
So you know how to handle these, because I mean, it's very normal if you bring in an idea and somebody tells you it sucks, we're not gonna do it. Of course you'll feel hurt and you're like, what the
Right.
hell? Let's do it. So everyone knows how to handle each other in that sense, for sure.
Right. And being the youngest, LA, was it harder initially for you to be like to your older sisters, like, I don't want to do this? Yeah. Or did you kind of feel like you had to, well, they're older and I have to kind of go along with this?
Honestly, I don't know. No, not really. I
Okay.
mean, I feel like I got used to working together. Like we have this very clear line of like we're working and our sister relationship, which obviously they do cross, but I don't think I've ever had trouble. Like I feel like
And I don't
they're-
think we have what normal like sibling like hierarchy.
Hierarchy?
authority.
Okay,
Well,
like
like,
Danny's not like I'm the
oldest.
oldest sister, so
So he
I
has
have the most
authority.
majority vote.
especially when we're working, because at the end of the day we're all like equals when we're
Yeah.
working. There's
Mhm.
no like, oh, you're older, you're this. And for certain things we do know that each of us have like our
Our strengths.
strengths.
And
Our strength, yeah.
especially in a creative field where there's no right or
Or
wrong.
wrong.
It's
all about
kind of, it all
opinions.
depends on how we, you know, mix our all ideas together and stuff. So yeah.
Sure. So you had a tour schedule, right, for that second album, and then the pandemic happens, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
God.
and you're inside at this point, obviously, like the rest of the world. And is that when you started writing Error? And then how do you get, how does the conversation with, a major label happen and then finally signing? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah,
Okay,
like
the process was so weird
so weird.
because we wrote Error in 2019. So before
Oh.
2020 happened, we already had the album written.
Yeah.
We were just waiting. Like it
To,
was at
like,
the end of
record it.
2019, and we did like a showcase show in New York, and some people of the label went. So 2020 started, and we started talking with the label.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we'll probably have to put off the recording for a little while until we sign. Okay. Then the pandemic hit, and it was like, what is gonna happen to our album? And then we
Right.
signed.
Or the deal, right? You could have been
Yeah.
like, well, we don't even know what's
really
gonna
well.
happen with the world, and we'll check back in with you when everything
I
opens.
can't
or whatever.
believe we actually
She
got
signed.
signed in
For
2020.
sure. It was we were all kind of like will it
Republic
happen?
took a bet. Oh my
Yes.
god.
Leap of faith.
So, but then we signed with Lava and
Over Zoom
started-
or something? Was it?
literally over Zoom. You
What
say
was
joke
that
to me.
experience? It probably is amazing, but maybe a little bit more underwhelming than you hoped.
We're all like in the kitchen. We signed the paper and we were like,
Yay! Okay. And then we got back to work because then we were talking with the label like, hey, when are we gonna record the album? We recorded the album in November.
No.
No,
in
in
August
August.
of 2020.
It was
2020.
September, October, November.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. So we went to New Jersey for 3 months. In
Wow.
2020. So
Yeah.
instead of being in lockdown in Monterrey, Mexico, we were in lockdown in New Jersey in a studio. So we had a long, like a while to record this album, which was really great because David Bendith, who was our producer for that album, really like kind of like re-taught us how to play. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just such a different mindset, and he was really able to bring out the best musician in all of us. So we had the time to take those steps like comfortably.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we had to deliver the album in a week. The world was shut down. Like it was fun. And then
And working with somebody at that caliber too, I'm sure was a lot different, right? Than I don't know how and where, what it looked like on the first recordings, but he's done so many, massive records and produced for so many big bands. Was that, and that might have been part of a little bit learning curve a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, we learned a whole different side of recording for sure. And of, recording, because when you're recording, all your musicianship gets put under a microscope. So it was like very good to learn how to be cool with what you're playing, but also letting that feeling and humanity show through, because at the end of the day, that's what's gonna like really be printed on your music. So we had a lot of fun finding that kind of like balance. Yeah.
The biggest difference really was that we were working with somebody who did not speak Spanish at all.
Oh,
David doesn't speak a lick of Spanish, and we've always worked with people who know how to speak
You're
Spanish.
totally right.
So it was just so jarring. But
was there like a language barrier there? I mean, obviously you
No.
speak.
I
Doesn't
mean,
sound like you speak. I mean, it sounds like you've been speaking English your whole life. Like,
there was a language barrier for David, because I mean,
right. So
David
would you
could
be
say
talking to each other in
something.
Spanish, and he's just like, "What the
Yes.
hell's going on?"
So David could bring an idea to the table, and we would first discuss it in Spanish between the three of us.
And then
So we'd be on the same page, and then tell
David
David
would
like,
just be like,
eh.
so
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
that
like, "Are
was-
they all talking shit about me?"
that was always the question.
Yeah, but no, we didn't.
We never.
But still, we are very used to specifically, even though we do speak good English, like creatively describing feelings and visions, it's
We should
like
do it in
Spanish. Yeah.
So that was different.
Okay. And then so going into this new album, it sounds like, I mean, you had the other one written in 2019-ish, and then you don't get to record it until the following year. And then obviously now you're on a major label and there's a process behind putting it out and all of that. When do you start working on this new album? And I want to talk to you about that, and how is it different than the one prior?
Very different.
When
We
did
started
start
working on it like
It depends on what song, because during the pandemic, the label started setting up co-writes through Zoom, like writing sessions. We had never done that before. We had never written with anybody else, and now it was through Zoom. So the first song of the album, technically, we wrote it in 2021. But we were not thinking of an album at that time.
Yeah.
So like when we officially started working on the album, it was 2023, it was last year. We were writing, producing, and recording this album in between touring. But we're talking about like 2 months of touring. We would come back have a week to pre-produce. Then we would go
To South America for the next tour.
and then we would come back for a few days and record the whole album.
Yeah.
It was insane.
so
It was
chaotic.
insane.
So different to, you know, 3 months in the studio with nothing else happening to, you know, fulfill our
everything
vision.
happening at the same time.
So in that sense, it was so different, but we're so glad because it took us to very different places that we've never explored before. And it kind of like forced us into being very concise and loving what we were writing at that moment. It just kind of like,
we didn't have
you
time
know,
to live with it. So it was like,
exactly.
you have to love it now because you're not going to be able to rewrite it later.
Oh, so you didn't have, I was wondering if it was the opposite where you would go in and record, you know, a portion of the song, maybe, you know, sick, right? You go in and you're working on it and then it's like, oh, we didn't quite finish the song, but we got to go tour here for 2 weeks. And then you come back and it's like, oh, let's listen to where we left off. It was, we go in, we finish the song and then we move on.
Yeah,
to the
it
next
was
one.
more like you only have this time to record it and have it done because it has to come out. Like,
And like, you have deadlines. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like us at our own time, like, oh, maybe we can finish it. It's like the label is like, we need to have this song by this day. And you only have those 2 days to do it. So you have to do it.
exactly.
So it was definitely, there was a lot of pressure, but pressure makes diamonds.
Oh my
like, I
God.
love this album so much. I feel like it brought up like new colors out of us
Mhm.
in ways that we had never done before. I feel like we took such a huge step musically forward. We, like, I just, at least now that we're playing them live, I feel so much more powerful with what we're playing.
Yeah.
Like, it just
feels
has such a
very
big
good.
impact. And I love that.
Wow. Wait, and you have a Spanish, a song, well, at least the title's in Spanish, right?
Yeah,
Is
the
that the
song's-
first? Yeah, the song's in Spanish, but is that the first time you went a full Spanish song?
No, this is
Oh, you had
our
another one.
Third song.
It's
It's
our
our
third
third
song
song.
in Spanish.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Now I feel
writing-
dumb, and I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
I
It
listened to
is-
the album. I know that one, and I think you've already released that song too, right? Que Más
Yes,
Quieres?
Que Más
Okay.
Quieres is out. Writing in Spanish is very different than writing in English. It is way harder. Spanish is a very difficult language sometimes,
So we love it.
but there's nothing more special than writing in your native language and sharing your culture that way. And also, like, right now we just came back from a European tour, and imagine you're in Germany, people don't speak Spanish at all, and we're playing Que Más Quieres for like practically the first time ever, and people are singing back this song in Spanish,
and you're like,
and you're like, how are you even doing that? And to be able to do that with your music and share your language in that way, it's just magical.
Oh yeah. When you write the like a song like that, how do you know you're going to go in doing it in Spanish, or was it just something? Do you write both in Spanish and English, and then, oh, this actually could work lyrically and melodically in Spanish, so we're gonna go that route? Or did you
You know,
intentionally write it in Spanish, or was it just one that kind of worked when it translated? back over?
normally it comes out naturally. We set our mind to write something in Spanish, but you know, this particular song, you kind of like nailed it. It was a song in English, and we kind of like, wait a
heard
second.
it, and we were like, this.
It would make so much more sense if it was in Spanish.
The phrasing was just perfect for the language,
Yeah.
and it's really hard. Like, we changed the concept of the song completely
Yeah.
because translating things sometimes is just really weird. So we just grabbed the musical aspect and like the top line, like the melody,
Mhm.
and we rewrote the whole thing in Spanish, and it worked perfectly. We try to
Really?
have at least one Spanish song per album
Mhm.
because it is just something that's very important to us.
Yeah. Wow. It's interesting because you'd have to go back and rewrite it. It's funny because now technology's got so much better, but before it was like you'd put in somebody in Spanish, you just put in like translate, and it was just like made absolutely no sense. You're like, wait,
Yeah.
what? So going in and having the same, lyrical content, I bet it had to change quite a bit. Did it change the melody of the song or everything altogether? Did you try it in English first? Or was it
Yeah,
always back?
the song we wrote it with other people, and it was in
Mhm.
English, and we were like, we love the song, but it's not like something's missing, and we're like, it should be in Spanish, and it just made sense.
Okay, very, very cool. And then as far as the album goes, it's coming out next month. I mean, that's amazing. Are you doing like a big tour to support it? It sounds like you guys are playing all over the place already. But is there like a big thing that you're gonna do in support of the album?
Yes. I mean, we already started touring with the singles. We just did 19 shows in 24 days in
Yeah,
Europe. We just
that's
came back
I
from
saw
that.
your crazy. Yeah, the tour schedule you have is wild.
Yeah, it's insane. We're about to head out to Japan in like a month, which is very exciting. It's our first time going over there. But we're just gonna keep touring Europe, America, Canada. But like the big release of the album, like the show,
The debut.
we're like the full album. We're doing our biggest show ever, or headlining show ever, in Mexico City. It's in February, but it's
Wow.
it's called Auditorio Nacional. It's a very big emblematic venue in Mexico. It's a 10K cap, and we sold it out in one day. It was just
Oh
this huge, like,
wow.
oh my god, what is happening?
We're so
moment for
proud
us.
because the show is still a year away and it's
It's
already
in
sold out.
February. We had to open up another date. So to think that like the big release show, it's gonna be like 20,000 people are gonna see that. That's insane.
That's
That's
insane.
insane. It
Well,
just makes
yeah.
us so excited to release this music already.
And to sell it out so quick, it's like people are so excited, so
Yeah,
eager
Sure.
to see you all play. That's so cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to hang out today. Are you guys in Monterrey right now or no?
Yes, we're at
Oh
home.
wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I have one more question. I want to know if I can get an answer from all three of you. If you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Ooh. My advice is to trust your body. It sounds really weird, but like you listen to your gut, but sometimes you're working so hard because this is a hard industry. Like it's hard to make it, and when you start making it, you just want to give everything and everything and everything all the time, and the industry expects you to give it everything all the time. And sometimes you need to take care of yourself. Sometimes it's very important to stop, and like even if it's just like I'm gonna drink water today. It's little things like that. And when you're rehearsing, sometimes things hurt, and it's very important to listen to your body and what it's telling you.
I would say something that we learned along the way is social media right now is so important, and it's such an easy way to, you know, reach a lot of people. So really take advantage. I know that when you're a musician, you don't think you have to be like part influencer to go hand in hand with your music career, but it's really important, and it's so nice to be able to reach so many people through social media. So it's something very important.
Exactly. Like take advantage of those tools that you have nowadays. And I think more than anything, just be true to yourself. You know, authenticity is very respected, and it's you can feel it, you know.
People look for
So
it.
exactly. Take care of your passion and remember why you
you're
pick
doing it.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, have fun with it.
Bringing it backwards.